And we are live. I have a party up in here. I have like 17 people in my podcast. I didn't even know if this was there. We could have a couple more. I have no idea. Let's see who stops by. But I have the great Tim Ball. He's here joining us from Friday live stream fame. He's back. Apparently we didn't scare him off. Welcome back, buddy.
Glad to be here.
All right, we got Pete. You guys know Pete. He's my resident co-host on Sundays, basically. He's been a part of the podcast for a while, so it's good to have you back, Pete. Carlos is here, and I could see like a overcast sky in the background. Wear the T-Mobile hat.
Yeah, it's beautiful outside.
You're going to have to send it back to Tim, bro. He needs his hat back.
I got too many of those.
Also, we got a notification out for the live. So
all right, so we are live. Okay, good. Hopefully my audio and my video is good, and we're broadcasting well. Yeah, and Caleb's here, the resident engineer.
Good evening, SMT Nation.
Now you're kind of like a big part of the show now. You've been on like at least 2 weeks in a row, maybe 3. So
yeah,
you guys are all a big fabric of the community now. So it's good to have you guys. Anyways, let me go ahead and tell you guys what we're going to do in tonight's show. We're going to start by talking a little bit about what's going on with social distancing issues and people working from home. We're going to talk about, school and how kids are working from home, the strains of the networks, what they're going to be going through in terms of capacity requirements, what's really causing the capacity needs, like what are the most data intensive processes that probably are creating all the issues with the networks. We'll talk a little bit about gaming. We'll talk about video, I'm sure. I think that's where kind of Caleb comes in with this. We'll also talk a little bit about coverage and stuff with Tim and Pete, I think. And then in terms of the retail side, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with prepaid. You guys know I'm a big prepaid advocate. Pete, you are as well. Carlos, you're kind of in tune with that community. And Tim, you sell it, so you know what's going on there. So we'll get to all those topics today, and it should be a good one. We've got all the talking heads of the SMT Nation here. And I will actually be a little bit of a moderator tonight because I have these very valuable assets here in my live stream, and I want you guys to get their perspectives on things because you know me, you know my voice, and maybe you're sick of it. So you guys can learn to get sick of their voices as opposed to mine. So I want to welcome everybody that's here.
I'm sure there are a few who are sick of my voice.
I want to welcome everybody that's here in the live stream. I see Greg A. I see there was another one. Who else did I see? Was Rafi was here. My moderators are here. All right, so they're representing. I don't know if I didn't see any other moderators, but I do see some of the familiar faces. Scott, Joshua, Matt, Dub, Sean. It's good to have you here. Scotty, Jose, Prince, John, JP. I see all you guys. So welcome to everyone. And Tana Solit, my brother, what's up? Good to have you on, sir. Aaron is here. Tana right there. Gene, Donald. Donald's been pretty busy in my video comments lately, so it is good to have you on here in the live stream if this is your first time. All right, so let's start first the title. I really didn't know what to call this. I wanted to make it kind of sort of playful, but the topic is real, and it's serious in my opinion. The prepaid segment of wireless is really cost sensitive. This is a group or a segment of customers that has either chosen not to spend a lot of money on service, right? They're trying to get a little bit of a better deal, or because of a limited income or possibly a fixed income, prepaid might be their only affordable option.
Or they don't got credit.
Right, or it could be a credit issue, exactly. So thinking of like the top 3 or 4 reasons why somebody might have prepaid, it might be that they don't really have the need for postpaid. It might be a credit issue. It just might be lower fixed income. Whatever the case may be, they are for sure the most cost-sensitive segment of retail in terms of wireless. So I'm seeing T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, pretty much all the carriers, Sprint included, being very flexible with postpaid customers. They're saying, hey, for the next couple of months, you guys can defer paying. You can pay us back after you get paid, right? So if it's a month from now, 2 months from now, or 3 months from now, basically after 60 days, you'll start to pay back on it. I've heard of some customers on T-Mobile on the postpaid side being completely forgiven for a month of service. So, the uncarrier is doing their part to even go beyond the expectation from the FCC, which is no late fees. They can pay back in 60 days. That being said, all of these great things are specifically geared towards postpaid with very little to no attention to prepaid. The only thing I'm seeing from prepaid is a little bit of extra hotspot data, like in the case of Boost. And from what I understand, Metro is doing something similar. If you're on a limited Metro plan, they're giving you unlimited data. And same thing with Boost, I guess. Those are nice things, but it doesn't change the fact that they could be disconnected once their 30-day prepay is done. So I'm concerned about that. I see flexibility and deal making for postpaid, but I'm not seeing that for the cost sensitive, who also probably are more in the gig economy, right? And their jobs might be a little bit more volatile in their financials. So I'm at a loss for words. I don't think they're really necessarily helping enough of the right people. So that's kind of where I stand with it. I mean, I could go on, but I'll start with you, Tim, because you're in the retail side. Go ahead and just kind of break down what you know from your side of things, from being like in that position of where you're selling these products, and then everything that you're seeing in memos and emails and things like that.
So as far as prepaid goes, since your video this morning, I haven't heard a whole lot, even though reaching out to some other contacts on the Metro side, I haven't really heard much other than there's some things being worked on in progress, but nothing that's confirmed. As far as prepaid goes, what I see of the prepaid industry, there are a select few of customers that prefer prepaid. There are some, obviously, where their credit's absolutely shot. That's the only thing they can get. So those customers, I could honestly see a very good reason to help those customers and a true need there. However, there's the other side of this where prepaid is also the most broken part of the industry. There's so many people that come in and just get a prepaid SIM, they instantly port it right back out to get a deal. Or you have people that are using like a 2 gig MI line prepaid to use that to use on a camera system, hunting camera system, things like that, over just streaming basic 480p quality so that they can monitor a deer stand or something in the woods. It's a very mixed industry. And I could honestly see how it could be forgotten, because it's out of the people, at least I see in the Carolinas and my demographic, there's not very many that need it.
Got you. I'll kind of move over to the Pete side. Pete's obviously, you've been a customer, Pete. You've been on both sides of this where, you've been in great financial shape with the business. Can you kind of see this from the prepaid side, how these people could kind of be sensitive to this current situation where if people are out of work and they're not making the money, how do they pay their bill if they're just getting cut off?
Yeah. So it's been quite some time. I've never had a prepaid line myself. I went from going on a family plan to running my own and being able to make payments on it. But I have extended family whose only option is prepaid, and some of them, they don't have consistent work. They get phone calls saying, hey, could you do this for me? And they re-up their prepaid line once a month, hope they get enough money in to pay it the next month and continue doing what they're doing. Some months I've had to give them a little bit of cash so they could re-up their phone and continue getting incoming calls. I personally would hope that, like, with the unlimited plans, having, a month or so free, just because they're cost sensitive, they could be out of work for at least the next 60 days. People are hurting, and those on the lower gig economy income spectrum, they can hurt even more
Sure.
I mean, if you have to get a drive Uber and you need a prepaid line,
yeah, that's the first customer I thought about, right? Like somebody who needs GPS and needs to connect to these apps to be able to run the service.
Uber doesn't do a credit check for employment. It just says, "Hey, are you able to reliably have a car?"
Mm-hmm.
And some people have really cheap cars that function without any issue, or they're making payments on the car and still working, but they can't exactly afford consistent postpaid. So
for situations like that, I do completely agree with you, Pete. It's just on the prepaid side where you draw the line of the ones that take advantage of it versus the ones who really need it. How do you figure that part out?
Yeah, you if you get people who pick up a prepaid line for a one-off burner phone, they don't need a free month. But if they're, out of work,
what if somebody had good standing? What if somebody had good standing prepaid service? Maybe they had been with you for 2-3 years prepaid. There's a trail on that, right? You see an account number, right?
See that as soon as we pull an account. I'd say even at this point, with it being prepaid,
6 months.
Had it for 3 months. 9 chances out of 10, that's a customer that's going to stick.
Carlos, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead and chime in, Carlos.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, basically, man, I mean, it's a pretty slippery slope situation. I think they should do something for them especially if they've shown loyalty. I mean, if they just signed up, bro, and let's say just got the service like a week ago and they're expecting a free month, I mean, I don't see why they would go above and beyond for that. But if you've been a customer, like Tim was saying, 3 months, 6 months, a year, you show loyalty, you've been paying your bill on time, you maybe had a couple of hiccups, because it does happen, and I think they should do something for them, because it's not right, like how they're only concentrating on postpaid when prepaid makes a lot of their capex, makes a lot of their clientele. But not everybody wants postpaid at this point in time. I mean, I've tried a lot of the prepaids, and just to try them, and there are benefits to it. I know that there's some that you don't have to worry about a bill, like what is it, Text Now, where you still get at least a phone number to call and a text message to send.
So it's interesting
GPS.
to bring that up, Carlos. I was thinking to myself, instead of them doing a complete disconnect of a line, why don't they at least keep it connected for call and text?
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, and then if it's a situation where that customer typically uses 50 gigs of data per month, would they allow that for a month? Say, okay, well, you've been a customer, like Tim said, for 3 to 6 months. We'll give you 1 month with your full access that you normally use. And then maybe the next month readdress it, right? Like we'll see what happens, and or maybe they can give you a discounted second month, if you can't really make payment. Like, okay, well, your bill was typically $50, can you give us 30 and we'll get you back full throttle on your plan. I just feel like there has to be something more financially than just Boost customers getting 20 gigs of hotspot, or Metro customers being completely unlimited who aren't unlimited now.
Look, Sneed, this is what they should do. If this is really supposed to be a crisis, like they're saying it's a crisis, at least give them calling and texting, bro. Like how Text Now, with Text Now, bro, right now, if you sign up for it and you pop the SIM right now and get it set up, you get unlimited calling, unlimited texting. You can even do GPS on it, bro. No problem. So at least you can get to destinations.
Sure.
So at least do something like that.
Or a limited connection. What if it's limited, Carlos? What if they no, not even that low, but like if you are getting 2 megabits per second, you could run your GPS, you could run Pandora, like you could pretty much do whatever. I mean, you're not going to do much for video.
Stream.
Right,
but 480 on 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're at a meager but sufficient connection where it's not going to count you out. It's not going to keep you from doing what you have to do.
Of course. I mean, it'd be nice.
What if it's subsidized? Why can't somebody come through for these customers? I'm telling you, man, I just feel like if we could do so much for postpaid, Why can't there be just something similar for
or
prepaid?
do it like you said, do it capped, okay?
Mhm.
And then let's say if they pay at least minimum, like let's say $10. If you can at least pay $10, we'll leave it on full throttle for you because of the crisis.
And that'll be
There you
just
go.
temporary, right? 1 month, 2
Yeah.
months, maybe.
Exactly. At
Caleb,
least it
go
still
ahead,
gives
bro.
options.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, I do agree with Carlos that the customers, especially the prepaid, should get at least the calling and text. Even the prepaid billing systems, they're very, very capable of of making these changes. It's just the flip of a switch. The billing systems, the implementation systems, they do have these processes in place. I think, to be honest with everybody, I think this should have been more transparent for prepaid customers from the beginning. I don't think we would have had all these questions if the carriers, the prepaid carriers and stuff were more transparent from the beginning. That's just my 2 cents, but at least it'd be nice to see, just to have them have calling and texting, even GPS, just to get by in these times.
Yeah, it's I think a situation that requires more attention. It's a segment of the market that can appear to be underserved. You think about low income, and they don't have the financial power or positioning to have options. It's like postpaid. You come and go as you please. All the carriers are glad to have you. You get these great financing options for smartphones. T-Mobile is willing to give you whatever. Verizon's willing to give you whatever for a phone if you have good credit. There's a lot of things that could be considered obstacles. I find it surprising, like Caleb said, that there wasn't this immediate response call to prepaid carriers like, hey, the FCC, keep Americans connected. So basically, prepaid customers aren't Americans, right?
Yeah,
because it's keep Americans connected, right?
Right.
Okay.
A lot of Americans are on prepaid.
But that's my point, is why, if it's keep America, it should say keep postpaid Americans connected. They should have been more specific about that. Or are the carriers neglecting the prepaid side, but that wasn't necessarily what the FCC wanted? Maybe it's just the carriers saying, well, we're just going to offer, throw the bone to the postpaid side. We're not making much money in terms of ARPU on the prepaid customers. Let's put our focus on the profitable side.
I think that's pretty much what it came down to.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But realistically, between Metro, Boost, and each carrier's independent prepaid, we're probably talking about 60 million people?
TracFone's got 25 million. Metro's got 20 million. Cricket's got 10 million. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Boost is 8 million, I think.
8. Yeah, about 8.
I mean, we haven't seen any. Has anybody seen any statements from those companies like TracFone or?
The only company I have heard anything in terms of keeping services connected has been Mint Mobile, which is an MVNO of T-Mobile, which T-Mobile has nothing to do with.
All right,
and they're their own standalone redistributor, right? And T-Mobile's the network operator, but the MVNO that's selling the service secondarily is Mint. And they're like, hey, we'll keep you connected. You get unlimited call and text. I think there's a limited amount of data, but they're giving it to you.
Yeah,
and actually, there was rumor that it was unlimited. I don't know.
So, as a postpaid customer, the only amazing thing that this Keep America Connected thing has given me through T-Mobile is the ability to call Italy and not pay 25 cents a minute.
Oh yeah, that's right. They are doing that. International calling and stuff like that's pretty nice.
So, yeah. But only to highly impacted areas. But
which would be China, Italy, yeah,
Canada.
Wow, Canada.
But Canada's free anyway because it's in the North American number plane.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I'm getting at is these Keep America Connected incentives are somewhat useless to people like me and probably Sneed, for example, and Timothy here, who we will continue getting paid even if there's a shutdown.
Sure.
So they're giving us too much. They should be throwing a bone to the people who don't have enough.
So Pete, you're set. You're okay, right?
Oh yeah.
You're blessed. Tim, you're blessed. You work for a good
Yep.
company. You're in a good position. Carlos, you're okay. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You're not hurting.
I get my
Caleb, how
retirement check, bro. We're good.
Caleb, how are you doing financially? Everything okay? Everything settled?
Yeah, I'm just swimming in Nokia hardware as we speak.
Are you
Brother, I hate to tell you, you're going to get a lot more of it.
Oh, I know.
Are you talking to your Nokia hardware and saying, why aren't you Ericsson?
I wish I could say that. It's not just me. I mean, I got my peers. We are constantly screaming at Nokia, saying, "Why is your stuff,
Garbage.
broken? And why can't we do this? And why is this feature not implemented? And we got so many things from the RAN software side of when we're doing our RF parameters. It's just half the stuff breaks when it gets rolled out, and when it gets rolled out, and it's frustrating. So, but that's another topic.
So Jamaal brings up the T-Mobile 5G. Caleb, in terms of your experience and what we could expect with standalone 5G, when are we going to see multi-carrier aggregation over NR in terms of low band, mid band? Is this going to be when we get the right modems next year?
Yes, that's correct. So you're not going to see really any of that until the X60 modem until that's it's in the customer's hands next year, because that supports multi-band carrier aggregation over low band, mid band, millimeter wave frequencies, as well as voice over NR. So the technology that is there for next year's phones, and futuristically speaking, I can't wait to see that in a Galaxy phone, a Galaxy, whatever the future number they'll come up with. S40 maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, right. S30.
S30.
I may bite on an S21 for an X60 or two.
Yeah. So the technology will be definitely there in the phones. As far as the carrier, here's the thing: the carrier aggregation between the bands will be there before we have voice NR. The voice over NR is extremely hard to implement. It's very, it's very challenging from our perspective, because you have to get not only just the handoffs right, but you have to get the audio codec. If you have sometimes you'll have one-way audio, right, or muting audio, to where one-way audio is when you're talking, but the other person can hear you, but you can't hear them. Stuff like that, right? We have audio doubling. We have audio skipping, to where if you're talking in a sentence, and maybe you'll have every other word the other customer will be able to hear, right? So if you think of voice over NR, especially over millimeter wave frequencies, the capacity of the data is there, but there has to be density, huge amounts of density, huge amounts of towers for a seamless process for your voice over NR to even take place.
Sure.
As far as rollout, I can only guesstimate. Now, it took, from the time, 1X voice to the time of voice over LTE, that was at least a good
decade.
So at least a good, 9 to 10 years. I do think that time frame will be shorter. The only reason why I say that to implement voice over NR is because we're already working with NR technologies already. Right.
And the leaps and bounds of LTE have already happened. That's like the growing pains of network tech.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we've already covered all that.
Yeah. So the only difference, let me explain real quick. The only difference between an LTE data connection and a VoLTE, a voice over LTE data connection, is the QoS. QoS is your quality of service. So the only difference is we add the QoS layer on top of your LTE data, right? And it runs over your same radio, runs over the same network band. And that's your voice over LTE. You just had quality of service on top of that, which includes, your audio codecs, your baseband signaling, stuff like that. And that's pretty much how it works.
So who here amongst us has connected to any of these new connections, these 5G NR connections. So T-Mobile's got their low band, AT&T has their low band, and then Sprint has their mid band. I know Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T have millimeter wave, but those connections are so limited. I mean, how do you really qualify or quantify those connections? I mean, what's good right now? And if anybody's gonna go in on a phone and spend 1,300 bones, I mean, is it even still worth it at this point? Like, we're talking end of March now, and not much has happened since March. Well, I wouldn't say March of last year, but let's say December of 2019, because that's when the low band started to come through with AT&T and T-Mobile. I know Carlos has experience with the Vegas market. Pete, you've got experience in the Colorado area. Tim, you're in the Carolinas. I think Raleigh.
Yep.
Caleb, you work on the stuff, right, with 5G NR, don't you, with Sprint?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's for customers. I mean, I know the price point is extremely high. I know it's going to get better with the 765 chipsets, but the good thing for customers to do and to know is to buy a phone with an X55 modem in it. Reason being is because that does cover your low band, your mid band, and your high band. It's a future-proof phone. If you're looking to get into 5G, just make sure your phone has that. It doesn't have to necessarily have the greatest Snapdragon processor, but at least the X55 modem. And I know, at least from a 5G perspective for Sprint, I know Carlos did an amazing job in Los Angeles testing that out for us, and we were pulling anywhere from 300 to 600 megabytes down.
Over 600, bro.
Over 600.
Pretty good stuff, man.
And that definitely shows the power, the strength of massive MIMO.
I hope this finds you well, Siova. Siova is a New York resident, and I know all that's going on over there. I hope this finds you well and you're doing okay, man. It's good to have you here hanging out. One more thing to say about the whole, 5G thing is pricing. You've got Sprint, they're charging for it. Verizon, they are charging for it. AT&T is kind of charging for it.
They're definitely charging for it.
Because the way they're doing it is you have to be on their top two plans, right? So, and that's just to get low band access. To get their millimeter wave, you got to be enterprise. Well, they just recently switched it. So you got to be on their top two plans.
For some phones.
And it's a very specific type of phones. And actually, I want to talk about one phone, and this is pretty crazy, and I'm pretty bummed out about this. The LG V60 was just announced. Carriers are just starting to get it. I don't know. You'd have to order it, and they'd have to ship it to you, apparently, with all the closures and whatnot.
This is still open.
But, well, look at this V60 situation, Carlos. If you're going to buy a V60, the only one I can recommend from a carrier is Verizon, because it's the only one that is going to be tri-band in that it's going to be low, mid, and millimeter wave.
It's crazy.
The AT&T one, the AT&T one is going to be low band. And I think it's I think it's just low band.
T-Mobile and AT&T is low band only.
No. The T-Mobile one's low and mid.
Oh, is it both?
Yeah,
mid too? Okay.
Oh, it's going to be because it has to be because of Sprint, so it has to have band 41 support. I don't know what the unlocked model is going to look like in terms of compatibility, but we're seeing a problem here. These chipsets have all three connections, and we really shouldn't even call it all three. It should be all two. It should be sub 6, and it should be millimeter wave if we're going to be honest about it, right? So why in the world is AT&T disabling modems or components and antenna modules in these modems?
I can kind of speak to that. A big, huge reason, there was discussion on the message boards. A huge reason why the carriers are wanting this, and actually the phone manufacturers such as LG are doing this, is just to make sure that you stay with the carrier longer. If you have you're buying you're buying a locked LG. Think about it. You're buying a locked LG phone from AT&T.
But what's their policy of their lock?
But
so let's
like
talk about it.
Something?
No, the policy is it's when you
pay
it off.
Pay off the phone. Yeah,
then
and
you can request the unlock.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like Verizon's is 60 days. You pay it off, you can have it unlocked. So You know, like, and then you take what's AT&T's, Carlos? You know it better than anybody.
AT&T's policy is once it's paid off, then you can submit the unlock online at att.com/device unlock.
Okay, so if you're gonna have it unlocked, can you then free up the use of those antenna modules?
No, you cannot because it's firmware based. You have
firmware.
to
got to flash the firmware. The thing is that most customers won't know how to do that. Number one. Number two, they're locked into that little. They're locked into the carrier until they pay off the phone. So it's like I'm gonna price up the phone as much as I can just to make you locked into this until you pay off the phone and get unlocked. And it's just that's the stipulation.
Sneed, but you know what's crazy though? AT&T is putting out their millimeter wave to consumer accounts too.
It is now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So why are they doing that when?
Yeah, that's the other thing that's confusing me. T-Mobile has millimeter wave. It's not much, but we have it too.
Yeah, and it's locked to that. And T-Mobile's actually, because I had the Note 10 Plus through T-Mobile, and in order for me to even do a flash on it too, I had to submit the bootloader unlock too. After I got the unlock done, I had to do the bootloader unlock through T-Mobile's website. Have a link.
Man.
That you talk to customer rep, they send you a link in the email. You click on it, submit the IMEI, and then it'll you plug in the cable and do all the stuff, and it'll be done once they email you back.
Yeah, the carriers are just making it more complicated, via means of a phone payment, a bootloader, what have you, just to stick with them longer. That's pretty much the name of the game.
This is like the Sprint strategy for keeping people with Sprint all over again.
Yep.
Remember on Sprint where if you had a Sprint phone, it only worked on Sprint? If you unlocked it, it basically meant you could use it internationally.
That's the issue. I still run into that with Sprint.
That's pretty much what they're doing.
Thank you, Jamil, for the super chat. Appreciate you. He said, let's try AT&T's 5G on his new S20. So, yeah, if you have, if yours is a T-Mobile variant, if yours is actually any variant, the low band should work. From what I understand, it's supposed to be compatible. So,
T-Mobile's unlock policy, and this was something I noticed even before becoming a business. Once the phone's paid off, I get a text message saying the next time you reboot, you're unlocked.
Yep.
Is that how that works?
You don't even have to request it. Just do
usually
it.
You don't even have to call in once it's paid for. It instantly unlocks, or you have the unlock app on your phone if it's Android.
I just had to reboot the phone. It said you're unlocked.
So what's T-Mobile's unlock policy, Tim? You probably know it pretty well.
Typically, it's 40 days or when the device is fully paid for.
So if you pay it off within 30 days, you could have it unlocked.
Nope. Correct. You have to wait for it.
Well, there's exceptions. Obviously, like if you're going overseas or something like that, they'll bend that policy a little bit. But usually, even if you pay the phone off in full, you have to wait the full 40 days.
I want you there for 2 months.
Okay, and then Verizon's is 60 days, and then you call in and then you request the unlock, pay it off.
Actually, I was talking to my network engineer guy, Verizon. They're talking about they're going to be removing that. They're going to go back to the activation policy once it's activated.
Oh, so once it activates, it's unlocked. Okay.
Yeah, they're going back to that policy.
All right. Well, that's good because that was the phone I used to recommend to people when they wanted to buy a used phone. I tell them, hey, if you're buying an iPhone, always get yourself a Verizon phone because it had Qualcomm modems and it would be unlocked.
But this is the exception though that's going on with it though. Once they do that, then within 1 week period, if you default the account or whatever, then they could relock it again. Yep. Sure. But only in that 7-day period though.
Sure. And I'm okay with that, bro. I mean, that's they're trying to secure their equipment. It is their equipment until you pay for it.
I do see, a 2-ish month window reasonable for a carrier purchased phone for an unlock.
Sure.
Why would you go to a carrier, say, okay, I want this phone, get some discounts, pay it off, and leave?
Yeah, where's the I scratch my back, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. It should be symbiotic. They give you a good deal, you hang around and use their service. That's why
they're giving you the deal.
Right. So the V60 situation is kind of weird. Although I like the idea of the phone, T-Mobile's got a nice bundle. They're doing a buy one get one, from what I understand. I don't know if have you seen any of that, Tim?
Yeah, they're gonna do a buy one get one with an Adeline.
And then they're also gonna do the screen bundle with it for $8.99 instead of $7.99 for the single.
Mm-hmm.
For Verizon's doing the same thing with theirs. It's buy one get one.
Yeah, but theirs is $9.49, homie.
True.
But guess who has the sweet deal on it though? AT&T.
What's their deal?
You add a line on your plan, free, no trade-in required.
Add a line, get a free LG V60.
Yep.
Wow.
That
You
is
just got to be on. Is it 30 months or 36 months?
30.
30 months.
Sweet deal.
It is a good deal, man. Wow. They're just trying to keep people locked in, man.
Especially if you can use AT&T in your area.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think if people, I'm not sure how many people just know about unlocked phones. I feel like there's more information going on about about unlocked phones. I think could be maybe a reverse trend, or at least slow it down. But
so Jamil. Oh, go ahead. You can finish.
I mean, Tim, how many? I know you can't really, recommend unlock phones to customers, but how many customers that walk through your store are saying, "Oh, I'll just," if they're not happy with what T-Mobile is selling, how many customers would you say that says, "Oh, I'm just going to buy an unlocked phone"?
We do a lot of what you call bring your own device. That's an unlocked phone. We do it all the time.
Right.
I wouldn't be
rare. I mean, very rare do we ever, tell a customer not to or recommend not to. I mean, if they're activating brand new service, it doesn't make any difference if I sold you the phone or not. So if you want to go to Best Buys or wherever, get the phone, come back to me, I activate the line for you. We're good to go.
Hey, we don't even have to go into the store to activate the line. We get unless we need a new line. Because if we're upgrading, we just pull the SIM out, put it in the new thing, and it works.
Slightly more complicated than that for me, just because I'm on eSIM.
Oh, eSIM, you got to get your QR code and all of that stuff.
Yep.
No, what's the nice thing about the QR code with Verizon and AT&T? I don't know if T-Mobile's the same way, but you save that QR code. Whether Verizon emails it to you or AT&T gives you the blue card, and anytime you get an e-phone, the phone and you want to do it with an eSIM, you just scan it, and that's it. You can transfer that way, like through any phone. You don't have to call it in. Yeah,
it's the same QR code for all phones, and it's literally just connecting to the server.
The one that Verizon and AT&T has is it's a SIM ID on that QR code. Mm-hmm. So that means when you scan it, it's your phone number's attached to that QR code the whole time. Is that how T-Mobile is too?
You still got to scan the eSIM into the system.
Ooh.
Okay.
So you still have to call.
Jamil with another $2 super chat. Thanks, buddy. He says, no AT&T 5G low band in my area. T-Mobile has it. So, unfortunately, T-Mobile's low band 5G is directly correlated to 600 megahertz. So, wherever they've got 600 megahertz, theoretically, if it's not activated or turned on yet, it soon will be, right? So their 5G is attached to this 600 frequency. The thing about what you're seeing with AT&T is it's band 5, which is not national. They don't have it in every market. It's a very regional-based connection. So wherever they have 850 megahertz, you can get low-band 5G with AT&T. It sucks. They don't have it nationally. They don't have the spectrum holdings in terms of the licensing to operate it in every market. So it's flawed, but they wanted to get it out there. Like T-Mobile wanted to get their 5G out there, and Verizon rushed out to put out some nodes of 5G on their street poles and stuff like that. And then T-Mobile wanted to show that they could do it too, and AT&T wanted to show that they could do it too. And Sprint's like, all right, well, let's put out about a dozen or let's everybody's going to put out a little bit and say, hey, here's proof of concept. We got some 5G in 2019, what AT&T turned theirs on the last week in November. T-Mobile turned theirs on in December. Verizon turned theirs on like Q2 of 2019. Like that's when all the millimeter wave stuff started coming out. T-Mobile turned on some millimeter wave shortly after that in the spring or the summer.
It was June, around June.
Yeah.
Right? They all started doing that stuff. So like, and we didn't bite. As consumers, like we're still consumers, right? We still buy phones and pay for service.
Nobody gives phones.
Pete, I have it here. There's like Cleveland has millimeter wave from Verizon
And T-Mobile.
and T-Mobile, and I'm not like thought about it. I'm like, should I just go get an S10 Plus 5G, unlock it, and just play around a little bit? But like, man,
not worth it. It's
not, because like I'm gonna have to pay upwards of $600 or $700 for a used phone that's probably gonna be scratched up and dinged up, and then I'll be swapping SIMs in on my phone to do what? Go hunting for 5G, like Carlos showed us. Carlos was out there hunting for it, bro, like a predator, and he was having struggles trying to find it.
There's one big perk for use need if you were to get a phone with the X55 chip, that 2-carrier aggregation on upload.
That's useful. That is definitely useful. As somebody who uploads over LTE, that is something I would like.
Getting speeds upwards of 80 megs on upload is nice.
It is.
Better
And
than Cox.
I actually want to say something about this, and this is where Caleb, I think, is going to come in here. There's a lot of network strain that's being introduced with everybody working from home and schooling from home. And there's a lot more people now video chatting, Zoom meetings, all these virtualized meetings. Last I checked, that was upload.
Yep.
And that is the least capacitive connection that you have between download and upload. You do a speed test on download, you might get 100 or 200 megs on LTE. You check your upload, it might be 30, it might be 20, right? So what's going on, Caleb? What are you seeing, man?
Well, I mean, yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of increased traffic, like you said, especially on the uplink. Verizon recently said that there was a 20% increase in data traffic alone, due to Verizon customers, being at home and using, huge amounts of data. So a 20% uptick in there. I can't really speak for the other carriers. Well, actually, I take that back. I know Verizon does this already, but Sprint as well. We're gonna, we implement what's called a vRAN, which is virtual radio access network. So basically, what a vRAN is it's logical networking resources that are created on top of a common shared physical infrastructure. So basically, we're allowed to take incoming data streams, at one or more base stations and pretty much virtualize it. And basically, what we do there is we're able to, for example, if we have a couple sites that have extremely heavy traffic, right, and what we're able to do, we can monitor that, and for like 5G, 5G we have 60 megahertz of bandwidth, right? We could potentially increase that to maybe 80 megahertz, 100 megahertz of bandwidth. Short term temporarily, we can adjust the antennas or the down tilt and stuff, and maybe boost some transmit power, stuff like that. So we're what you got there? 15 by 5. Yeah.
And I'm still getting almost 90 down.
Exactly. Yeah. So right. So basically, like I was as Tim is showing, and what I was speaking to earlier, we're able to increase the bandwidth, right, and capacity needed if we find that we're being bombarded with heavy users at a particular site. If we have congestion, huge amounts of congestion on the network. For vRAN, the use cases are like smart cities. We can also do that with Internet of Things, connected to infrastructures, augmented reality, stuff like that. Basically, it allows us to really boost our scale when it comes to congestion and stuff. And with Sprint, since we're able to, we have a lot of capacity in the mid-band or 2.5 gigahertz, we're able to push, that 80 or that 100 megahertz bandwidth, if we need that. And also, especially with what Tim said, or Tim showed us, he's able to, pull a 15 by 5. Also we're getting
15 megahertz on band 66 and 5
Oh, there you go.
megahertz on
Okay.
1900 PCS.
Yeah, so it's an increase of about 5 to 10 megahertz depending on the frequency, and especially with Dish's help as well. So that's a good thing. So VRAN is very, very functional. You're just able to extend the reach of a base station and augment it the reality of how you want, based on capacity and based on bandwidth.
All right, we got a super chat from Jamaal again. Jamaal rocking it tonight, man. Thank you so much for the generosity.
Number 4.
He's been told that Samsung is going to be updating through a software update. S20 line gets access to dual SIM, utilizing an eSIM and a physical SIM. So that's good to know. And I'm surprised it doesn't have it now.
Well.
I'm surprised they don't.
I've heard that the S20s are supposed to be able to work on Google Fi.
Oh, that would be the first Galaxy device, right?
It's a rumor. I'm waiting for confirmation for sure, but I've heard a couple of people telling me it's Fi capable.
The last I heard, there is a hardware restriction to operating Google Fi as being that smart SIM, right? Like switching between carriers. So, it's partly software / SIM and partly hardware. So
that's really cool about the S20, man. I mean, I might have to, if that's the truth, I might have to get that instead of the Motorola. But
that Motorola looks cool.
It does, yeah. But the thing with VRAN technology, especially with the RF spectrum, it can be routed intelligently and dynamically based on the network load. So we were able to, like I said, track clusters of sites and really bring out the best capacity needs for our customers. I think you're probably going to see more of that. I could probably see maybe more technology companies other than Dish providing access to shared spectrum. I can see probably some big players depending on how long this coronavirus crisis goes on.
So question for you, Caleb. When I see my phone connecting to multi-cells, but it's not technically aggregating any more spectrum, I guess, it's just showing that, hey, it can pick up multiple sectors, I guess.
So basically, when you look at your phone, you'll see a list of neighbor cells, right? That has to do, if you pull up like Signal Check Pro, you'll be looking at, if you want to know what tower you're currently connected to, it'll give you like what's called PCI, right? I'm sure you've seen that.
Yep.
That's called physical cell ID. So usually it goes in order. For example, we'll say PCI 260 is your alpha sector 261 is your beta, 262 is your gamma. Now on your neighborhood cells, if it's not in that number range, those are neighboring cells, neighboring towers near you, right? That actually your phone is picking that up, can pick that up as well. Does that make sense?
Can't really see it, but
I can't. Yeah, for example, what PCI do you have right now?
So that is
387.
Yeah, and it's showing 1, 2, 3 neighboring cells.
Okay, so 387 is your current PCI?
Yes.
Okay, so you probably see somewhere on your neighboring cells that's picking up the other sectors of 386, maybe 388, correct?
Correct. They're dropping in and out, but
okay, yeah. So that's
showing,
that's on the
66. It's showing band 2.
So that's on the same
UMPS.
tower.
Yeah,
that's on the same tower. So if your phone will actually also pick up your neighboring towers, now that's going to be a different PCI, like maybe 100 or 44 or whatever it is, right? Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, right now it's picking up 3 neighboring cells. I've seen it as high as 5 and 6.
Yeah, it's just it picks up, however neighboring cells, usually in like a set of 3.
Okay.
So, but like I said, each tower will have a different PCI scheme, physical cell ID scheme, right?
Okay.
So that's how that works.
All right. Another thing to mention about what's going on with the current state of work from home, education, schooling from home is apparently Dish is the Nino Brown of wireless spectrum hoarders. I don't know if you guys remember. Do you guys know who Nino Brown is? Has anybody seen New Jack City back in the day?
I heard of Charlie Brown, but not.
Okay,
I was
so
gonna say I haven't heard of him.
okay, so Nino Brown is Wesley Snipes played Nino Brown in a movie called New Jack City, and essentially, I don't want to get like inappropriate. It's not that kind of show, but he sold illegal things in a building called the Carter, and he operated the entire apartment building. He didn't let people in, he didn't let people out, and he dealt in this building, and he was destroying his community by being this dealer. And on Thanksgiving, he would pass out turkeys to the same people that were buying his product that he was destroying. So he was the Band-Aid, he was the cut. You know what I'm saying? So I see Dish as being Nino Brown of the wireless spectrum hoarders. They've hoarded it for a decade or more, and here they are passing it out like they're Nino Brown, like he's passing out turkeys, right, on Thanksgiving. So they're giving AWS to Verizon if they want, they're basically saying here, AWS, right? So it's mid-band. It's band 66, I'm assuming. T-Mobile's using their 600 megahertz. I think AT&T is going to be using their 700 holdings and their mid-band. But here's the thing. AT&T can utilize the 700 and the mid-band right away. The Verizon is not ready. It's not out yet. Like it's not deployed. So my question, Caleb, maybe you know, what is it about Verizon's configuration or hardware or software that is preventing it to be usable now? And what is it about AT&T's that allows the 700 and that same AWS 4 to be utilized right away?
My guess is the frequency block. It's just
so if it's block C or block E or whatever.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm not sure if they have their radios provision for that. Now AT&T could be different. It just depends on how as far as the bandwidth goes, and as far as like what they how fast they can do it. I'm not sure because I'm not employed with Verizon anymore, but my guess is that it's just on a different frequency block, and I'm hoping I think their radios. I mean, the radios should cover that, but I think that's probably the problem there. It could also be maybe I doubt that it's in some interference, but I think it's just more of a provisioning problem. I think that could be having. That's my guess, and actually getting the bandwidth to use.
Hey, Carlos, this is your opportunity here, man. I'm going to get you involved. You have known Dish for a long time. You've used their service, right? You've had them for TV. You know all about Charlie Ergen, bro. You know all about him. Pete, you too. All right. What is his motivation? Why is he passing out turkeys on Thanksgiving, bro? Why is he being Nino Brown right now?
Bro, because he's up to something, bro. It's a snake.
I know.
I think he's gonna sell the Spectrum, personally.
That's what.
Go ahead and rent it out.
Yeah.
He has to operate it, bro. It's
out.
in the deal. It's in the DOJ concessions. They
might be building it out, but while they get the hardware in place, they might be renting it out.
Bro.
Does technically go towards their deadline, though? That they had to have a certain amount of spectrum deployed. Does this count?
We already passed it. It was March 20th.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's right.
Doesn't with this deal. It doesn't matter because with the merger.
Yeah. So you think he's up to no good? You think he's trying to? You think he's trying to juice up the FCC?
He's trying to do. He's trying to do a little cocktail with them. Stir up the pie. Drink a little margaritas. Chill it out. And then what he's gonna do afterwards, bro, is he's gonna be like, man, you know what, man? I've been serving you guys margaritas here for a while and spicing up this cocktail. You guys need to let me sell this crap.
Yeah,
well, they're locked in. They're locked in for 3 years.
For 3 years, that's right.
So after 3 years, they could sell it, bro.
They can
make some dough.
Yeah, exactly. I think exactly what's going to happen.
But let's talk about the renting of the spectrum, though, because that's legitimate. They're talking about if they were just to rent the 600 megahertz to T-Mobile, T-Mobile would be paying $60 to $100 million annually. Does that seem right?
Well, how much will they be paying T-Mobile to be an NVMO?
Yeah, I mean they're pretty much running out spectrum to build their network. Think about it. If you're paying me so I can build out my network, that's kind of like what Charlie's thinking, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right now, of course, he wants to build that standalone 5G, but then he's gonna base everything off of standalone. So
Okay,
why does he need?
I mean, think about it. What's the quickest way to pay for it when you don't have customers? It's you got to run out. You got to rent your spectrum. Exactly. Right. You got to rent your spectrum. Exactly.
Okay, let's backtrack this. Hold on a second. We got to let's go back. Okay. Dish owns as much spectrum as T-Mobile. Not the new T-Mobile, the old T-Mobile.
I thought they owned more spectrum.
They might own a little bit more. They own as much as Verizon, T-Mobile, and Dish. They're really, really close to each other. Let's put that into perspective. If they were to lease or rent those holdings to each of the other three carriers and still MVNO off of the new T-Mobile, they are essentially double dipping, as I've stated in previous videos. And they can triple dip because they can resell T-Mobile's network as a prepaid MVNO as Boost.
We all know this is going to be happening.
But how do people say that Dish can't win if they're going to triple dip? And hold on a second. They're going to build out their 5G network this whole entire time off of those rental fees.
Bro, you don't understand, bro. Charlie Ergens wants his own island, bro. He's tired of this.
Yeah, he's like the Tostitos guy that's in the Tostitos commercial chip that triple dips his stuff. Remember that?
Man, yeah, but
yeah, that's Charlie Ergen.
The world's never enough, man.
So how long does it take? Let's say Dish is renting out their spectrum to us for just sakes. How long would it take them to decommission that spectrum holding on one cell site and move it to theirs?
Well, we do that usually on a market by market basis. So it depends on a couple of factors. One, how many markets are they willing to do this with? Like, you see what I'm saying? Because spectrum's on a market, usually been on a market by market basis.
How many billions you got, bruh?
Exactly. It's all about from that point, once you decide like where you need your capacity, where you need your cell sites, based on market pops, point of presence, then it comes down to the money. Once that's established, then it's a timeline of, just moving the sectors, moving the radios over. That's anywhere from, I don't know, it could be, usually in a market, maybe 1 or 2 years to see a big dent.
This is what I've been analyzing out of this. Is I think the reason why Dish is doing this is because they know that they need to set up those. They need to be in those same sites where T-Mobile and Verizon and AT&T are right now. So why not hook them up? Everything's going to be set up, and all they got to do is put their own panels up and finish it up.
Yeah,
Dish already getting like 20,000 cell sites from Sprint anyway.
It's up to Dish.
It's up to them, and keep in mind, like each to build a tower, it's $1 million, right? So if I was Dish, I want to be. Yes, I have to build up my network. Do I want to spend $1 million per tower? Oof. Or like Charlie Ergen, I could double dip and triple dip. That's a lot more cost effective, than spending, oodles amount of money, at $1 million per tower. It just makes more sense, and that's what I think Charlie is going for.
And let me slide in with this one last thing about Charlie Ergen. Here's what he also knows. If he's got all the leasing, if he's double and triple dipping networks all over the damn place, he's also building out standalone 5G. He's not even thinking LTE right now. There's no investment in covering the nation. He's like, crap, I'll operate MVNO over LTE for the next 10 years. I'll just keep reselling over T-Mobile. He's only building out 5G. He's not building out LTE. He's not concerned with any of that.
So we got a super chat sticker from Jamaal.
What's the sticker doing?
Sunglasses.
Yeah, bro. Charlie's like a car salesman with the high end cars with a bunch of skunks in the back of the trunk.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's what he's doing. Mark my words on that, bro. He's letting them. There's a reason why he's letting them use all the spectrum is because he wants them to do the work, and he just does the little penny stuff at the end.
But Carlos,
to have it
why?
deployed at that same site?
But Carlos, why did John pick him? John picked him. T-Mobile picked Charlie Ergen. They picked Dish. Why?
Because at the end of the day, bro, they know that probably Charlie at the end is going to end up selling to T-Mobile.
But that's their biggest. But that's their biggest nightmare is him selling to Amazon, him selling to Google, him selling to some huge mega conglomerate cable provider thing. I don't know, bro.
Maybe they talked on the sidelines, man. You never know. Maybe they talked on the sidelines to have a deal going, bro. You don't know. We don't know.
I think they scratch each other's back more often than what we see.
My
bro.
Was it wasn't just T-Mobile saying, "Hey, this should be." The FCC may have given them a short list of companies to pick from.
Yeah.
Dish has the largest spectrum holding, so both sides would be motivated to get them going.
Yeah.
But there's a reason. There's a plot to this reason why he's letting them use all that spectrum for free.
There is, and I can already tell you, I pretty much know what it's going to be.
He wants those sites that these carriers are on to put out his network on. There's a reason why.
It's not just the sites. It's the 600 megahertz spectrum that Dish owns. That's what T-Mobile wants, and they want it bad. That's why.
Let's clarify this, Maverick. The FCC did not pick Dish.
Nope.
It was T-Mobile. T-Mobile picked Dish.
Yup.
Even if the FCC said, "Hey, maybe you should do it," ultimately it was their final say.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. That guy, Ajit Pai, hates Charlie Ergen, hates Dish Network. He's been dying to get that spectrum out there.
Hold up, back up the truck. I need a Reese's cup bigger.
Yeah, that's right.
Big Reese's diplomacy.
I could seriously see Dish doing a spectrum sale to T-Mobile in about 10 years, the 600 megahertz.
Why? All of T-Mobile's 600 megahertz will be finally completely decommissioned from TV, and it'll be all available to them. Their holdings are good.
I can still see it happening. I don't think. I really don't. Well, hold on. I don't think Dish is going to need all that 600 megahertz spectrum. I just don't see it.
How much low band? How much low band do you need, bro? Seriously, how much? Verizon is done with low band. AT&T only took it because they're getting paid to deploy it.
Yep.
I just think that's what I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen, dude.
Instead of worrying about low band, they need to worry about that AWS-3 that they haven't deployed. That they only got, what is it? 40. What is it, like 30% deployed or something like that?
Yeah, they got to.
They need to worry about the rest of the 58% or 50%. They need to deploy AWS-3.
I mean, here's the thing, and the reason why I say this is because Dish is not going to put 5G on 600 megahertz. They're not. That's what T-Mobile's stick is, right? So
right.
I could see them doing, a little bit of 5G here and there on AWS, but definitely not on 600 megahertz. And that's why I think they're eventually going to be making that deal with T-Mobile in the next, 10 years maybe.
You got to think about it. If they deployed the rest of their AWS, imagine Pete gets. What do you get, Pete, right now on your Band 66 out there? What do you get, like 150 on the down?
150 when I'm in an area with the 66. I
Okay,
get about 70 off 12.
Okay, so if he gets 150, then he'll be able to get at least 300-400, no problem. If they rolled out the rest, that's just in his market alone.
Look, man. Here's why I don't believe in what Neville says, and I believe in what Neville does. Neville says things like, "This low band 5G will reach everybody, and it's going to help everybody." But what T-Mobile has done is they have taken on debt.
Oh yeah.
And they have spent $26 billion on mid-band and 50 million customers. So what T-Mobile says and what they do are two different things. What they say, I'm not buying. What they do, I like, because what they did was they acquired over 100 megahertz of national mid-band and 50 million customers. That's what they did. What they say is that everybody wants low band, which is wrong. They don't. Well, Pete, you're just greedy. All right, that's all I'm gonna say.
No,
But you
no,
want it all. You want.
I want a good, reliable connection when I'm 2 stories down in a concrete bunker.
Okay,
Hey,
but
Caleb.
nobody's
I
lining
want
up
low
for.
band.
Bro, what are you
I
going
am.
to
I like low band.
Yeah, but how is that going to be your generational leap into the next set of network technology?
Well, I mean, not necessarily from a capacity and a throughput standpoint, but like I was saying, I think the carriers, like if you're saying, hey, I'm going to do 5G on 600 megahertz, that's their marketing, their ploy, their standpoint, right? They market that heavily, and that's why that's I'm going back to what I'm saying. I think Dish is eventually going to sell that off to them because I was doing some reading. I think Dish is basically going to pop that out, their 5G over AWS, not 600 megahertz. I can almost guarantee you, Dish is not going to roll out 5G on 600 megahertz. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't.
Okay, they can't. T-Mobile can't make money on low band 5G.
Yeah, 5G.
No, they can't.
They can make money on mid band because they can operate some semblance of a home broadband connection. They can sell 50 megabits per second on their home internet using mid band. They can do that.
Wow, this is the newest thing I ever
So
saw.
how much do you think all this PCS that Sprint has is going to help us too?
Oh, that's
Talking
going to
about
be
band
awesome.
25.
The
all
band
that
25. That's
900
going to be awesome. You're going to be sitting at about 20 by 20 nationwide,
Oh, wow.
sometimes even a 40 by a 30 by 30 or 40 by 40. But the thing is, here's the other thing. When I kind of want to point, once this all gets carrier aggregated, let's say if Dish does end up selling some more 600 megahertz, even if the stuff that they have now, you carrier aggregate all that stuff, it's going to be huge. Even the 600 megahertz stuff, it's going to be great. Once they can carry the low band, the mid band, even the high band on their 47 gigahertz, that should be rolled out, and God knows when.
I just saw how much 47 gigahertz Sprint
Pete.
for in my market.
Pete.
Bro, but this is okay.
I know.
Look,
It's just going to take time. That's
we're
all.
gonna get to this
Okay.
47 gigahertz. All right, we're gonna get to this right now.
Yeah.
Why the hell did they buy a spectrum that nobody even makes equipment for? It's another
Not
bad
yet.
investment.
No.
Bro.
Hold on a second, bro. Hold on.
Bro,
Not yet.
They already have a hard time with millimeter wave on 28 gigahertz on 37, 39.
Carlos, the technology is
Bro.
new. It's going to be like this for a few years.
Bro, that investment was Garbini, bro. They should have went with 39.
Well, hold on. I mean, because if you look at it this way, that the phone, the X60 modem, that's going to support the 47 gigahertz. The X55 does not currently. If you think about it, the modem chipsets, they support the millimeter wave, on a yearly basis. Like, for example, the X55, we had the technology for the millimeter wave, the sub-6, stuff like that.
Okay.
The X60 modem next year is going to be 47 gigahertz. It could be, up to 60 gigahertz.
37, right.
There, yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. The X55 modem does all that already, but it's going to be more millimeter wave frequencies for X60 modems and beyond. So we just have to wait for the networks, to catch up with the phones.
Wait, but millimeter wave holdings are 200 and 300 megahertz.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are massive collections of spectrum. Like and if you're aggregating that, I mean, we're talking 4 gig speed.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
But look,
And so-
okay, they saved money by buying it. I won't deny it.
Yep.
They did. Okay, but at the end, when they make the antennas and all this stuff, the equipment to put it out, it's going to cost more because they have to make brand new stuff. So at the end, it would have been the same price to buy 39, 37, or 28 because it was going to cost the same at the end.
No, but we're talking 2030. We're talking 2020, like 5-10 years from now for something like that. They're still going to be deploying more like 24 and 28 gigahertz. Like those are going to be your initial ones. Like
in my market, I'm not expecting to get anything even close to above sub 6 gigahertz 5G until 2025, 2030.
Yeah, it's just going to take a long time to roll out, and that's always the toughest, especially for me. It's always the toughest part being an engineer, or even looking at it from a consumer perspective. Everybody wants the 5G now, even though it's limited across the U.S. But it's the spectrum. When you buy spectrum, it's future proofing. If you put it to use, that's great. If you hoard it, like Charlie does, it's bad. So it's just, the spectrum is the lifeblood. Then you just got to build the technology and the RAN to make it work.
Charlie could have leased this spectrum a long time ago. I mean, he could have leased to T-Mobile in 2016, 2017. He could have leased to Verizon last year. I don't know what was going on there, but now I feel like the timing, he's like, the FCC's got this connection promise that they're doing. Let me get in good. T-Mobile will like us. Verizon will like us. Maybe they'll continue to rent after this 60-day period. I don't know what his ulterior motives are. There has to be some, because this dude is cold-blooded. He's vicious. He basically told the DOJ, I want it all. And the DOJ's like, all right, we'll get it all for you.
Wait, we get a sticker.
All right, what's going on in this sticker, Pete?
Thinking.
Show me. Hold on, let me zoom in again for you. Nice. Merger close. We're looking at about 26 days away. Banks are still a go.
Give it about 3 weeks. We're good.
Yeah, the banks are still there with the money bags. They're all set.
Yeah.
The Tooney Act, we're hoping wraps up. I know that there's a little bit of this quarantining situation that could affect Judge Timothy Kelly's final decision. He could finish up his open comment period after the California Public Utilities Commission. He could do it after or right before or at the same time, whatever. So we're expecting that soon. T-Mobile is focusing their efforts on 600 megahertz for the time being. Neville Ray tweeted me and told me so. I asked him about AWS. He said nothing right now, so that was very depressing.
Hashtag T-Mo USA full AWS.
I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of if people are complaining about congestion issues on tower sites in major markets, then that's where the AWS has to come through.
Yeah,
I know everything here. They just rolled out 15 by 15 AWS.
That helped a lot, didn't it?
Dramatically.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and just think once we get the the 1900 PCS and especially the 2.5, that's going to be such a huge capacity.
Still connected or not?
Yeah, you're still with us, Carl.
Okay, all right, because I dropped my phone. Just went tumbling down.
That wasn't the S20, was it?
Huh?
That wasn't your S20, was it?
She is coming around the mountain. There you go.
Is the money still a go with the economy? Looks like everything's secured.
I mean, hey,
ask our president.
A large amount of the customer base is still paying without an issue.
I'm still paying my bill.
Yeah.
It's on my own pay, and the account has a few more digits in the bill.
Because either way, bro, people don't understand. Either way, you're gonna have to pay for it. There's no forgiveness all the way. Maybe for rent, for people that just rent alone, then yeah. But for people that have mortgages and power bills and stuff like that, you got to pay that. You got to do a restructured payment plan and pay that later.
Yep,
that's an advanced wireless service.
It's better just with mortgages right now. They're doing a thing where you can hit them up and be like, "Hey, I can't afford it right now because I got laid off." Whatever, they'll lower the payments and put it permanently lowered, and then at least you can pay it that way. I'd rather do that than not pay.
Caleb, do you have any comment to this question? He's wondering about the market in terms of the spectrum licenses that Sprint holds for band 25. Is there anything you could share there?
Yeah, there's a website. Give me a minute to try to find it. It has all our spectrum holding map.
Caleb, what's your Twitter handle?
It's
even on here.
Caleb. Yeah, it's Caleb.Squires2, I think it is.
Raining.
Yeah, if maybe Caleb could tweet it out. Maybe he's got the link to it. He'll tweet it out, and you guys can access it there.
Yeah, this is public, so anybody can do it. But let me look up the website really quick.
The FCC also has listings for all of this. Doesn't show deployment, but it shows you how much they have in a given market.
That's right, Jamil. AWS Spectrum gets run over band 66, which is, are they still considering it a superset or a subset for?
It is a superset.
Yeah, it's a
Superset
super.
of 4. Okay.
Yeah, it couples with band 4.
But it's not the same. Like I never see band 4. It always identifies it as band 66. So I'm like, okay.
Every once in a while, I'll see band 4, but it's rare.
Yeah.
I have band 4 in my phone now, and it's because it's from the low end of what 66 offers.
I'll tell you what, guys, when I started getting band 66 access here in the CLE, it changed everything. Like my speeds went from 20, 25 megs to 120, 160 megs. You know, it was the hero band. I don't care what anybody says. You could talk about millimeter wave. You could talk about, you could talk about, 700 megahertz, 600 megahertz. That's cool. That's fine. Band 66 saved the mid 2000s, 15, 16. It literally made internet experiences on the mobile fast. 1080p video, 720p video.
Sneed, pop me up.
I was going to say, it looks like PCS and what? Yeah, you're on 4.
4, and it says AWS 1 if I can get them.
Oh, so each of those blocks gets a different designation?
Yep.
So if it's 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or whatever.
I think that's the best focus we could get.
It's not easy. Hey, super chat from Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Yo, Ricky.
Super chat from Ricky.
So I Sneed and everybody on the channel. I want to give this website to everybody. Anybody can look at this. It's SpectrumGateway.com. That's SpectrumGateway.com.
What up?
You can look at the Spectrum holdings there for the carriers.
What's going on? What happened? Is everybody gone?
Oh, Sneed, are you there? Anybody?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Let me repeat that. I don't know if you guys heard me or not. For the Spectrum the Spectrum holdings, you guys can go to SpectrumGateway.com. That's SpectrumGateway.com. You can view any carriers holdings there, and it has a map of how much we have. So
appreciate the super chat, Ricky. Thank you so much. So SpectrumGateway.com if you guys want to check out any of the holdings from any of the major carriers. I think also including regional carriers, probably. And the smaller guys.
Probably. Yeah.
All FCC licenses.
All right.
I'm not going to lie. I really wish that T-Mobile would scoop up US Cellular.
John, what's up, buddy? Thank you for the super chat. I know how expensive college is. I paid off $30,000 in student loans a few months ago. Yasmin's lucky to have you start a college fund for her. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, John. Thank you so much. That's a very kind gesture of you, man, and I appreciate it. And you know what? College is expensive, bro. Like I paid for mine, and I've been tired pretty much my whole life. I've always had multiple jobs. I've always been a student, and I've been a teacher for the last 10 years. And I could tell you, man, trying to pay for like tuition, sometimes you got to make sacrifices, right? And I know that I would rather have her focused on her studies than to be worried about holding a job that's going to pay her tuition. So that's kind of my motivation in all of this.
That's right.
So thank you, John. I appreciate you. And actually, I'm pretty pissed because YouTube's holding the money. Remember that crazy day where everybody was sending like $600 for Yasmin? Remember that live stream?
Everybody
was
was
hundos.
stacks.
Yeah, YouTube still didn't send me the money, so I'm like, man, I'm trying to transfer this money. It's got to kick into my account, so then I could kick it into Yasmin's account.
Damn.
Yeah, so they better come up with that money, bro, or else I'm gonna have to show. I'll be at YouTube headquarters, bro.
Got to show them what's up.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to send a bag of something to them.
US Cellular US Cellular is not selling out to anyone.
Yeah, they won't.
The only reason I
not-
said that is they have that extremely rural coverage that nobody else has.
Yep. They got that king.
I don't understand, bro. Like the FCC and the DOJ was all about getting Dish going. But like, why the hell didn't they just do a stimulus package for Sprint and get them some low band spectrum, right? And give them something to get them like help their debt load. Seriously,
Man, they're like those 40. What is it?
I don't
40
know, bro,
billion
that-
in debt or something?
it's only 33 billion.
Yeah, so you got to think about that because T-Mobile bought them for 26.
Oh, and force
And then-
Masa Son, force him to sell it. Like he is not allowed to own it anymore. Like how they did Don Sterling for the Clippers 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
What's up, MT Houston, Texas, man? Thanks for the super chat. No questions, just wishing all you goodness and wellness, thoughts and prayers continue with all you during this time. Same to you, bro. Thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate it greatly. And you're a huge contributor here to the channel, a friend of the show. Thank you, man. Oh, Mr. X. Yeah, Mr. X he brings big money bands, bro. He starts making it rain. Mr. X comes in here like this.
Ooh. Ooh, I got an idea right now.
Wait, what are you doing, bro? No. No, I don't. I see fire or something going on, bro. Chill out. What are you doing, bro?
Bro, you already know what's about to happen, bro.
No, bro. I'm about to remove you from the stream, bro.
Bro, we gotta do it, bro.
No.
Are you burning one of your?
What am I
Are
doing,
you
bro?
burning
You
one
don't
of
even
your
know what I'm
phones?
doing.
What are you doing?
He's
Bro,
throwing an Android in the
you
fire.
don't know, right?
Well, I'm seeing flames like reflecting off of your face,
How? How is it flames, bro? You don't
bro.
know
You didn't
it's
see the
flames.
yellow light?
It could have been the sun, bro.
Yeah, it could have been the sun with all the clouds in the sky. Man, get out of here with that nonsense. I was in Houston. You can cut your hair for $8. Jamaal with this. Hey, Jamaal, I'm pretty sure you donated $8. I'm gonna go get a haircut if they're open.
Bro.
Oh, we got a PayPal donation.
Oh,
John, thanks, man. Appreciate the PayPal dono.
yeah.
I got money.
At least, bro. At least with PayPal, you guys can get it faster, right?
Bro, you want to hear something crazy?
What?
What was I just talking about? Yasmin with the super chat money, right?
Yeah. It just cleared.
I just got an email saying check your Google AdSense.
Wow.
That's right, bro. They're
Wow.
listening to the SMT. They know better, bro.
Nice.
I'll snap, bro. I'll show up at headquarters, bro, with all types of goons, bro. I'll bring Carlos, Tim, everybody's coming with me, bro.
So let's do the finale, huh?
All right, Ricky with another super chat. Ricky's making it rain tonight too, bro.
Right.
Bro.
And Jamaal
Ready?
with the super chat. What are you doing, bro? What? No, Carlos.
I think he's saying you might need a haircut, bro.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. What's
Bro,
going
I don't
on?
want to get demonetized, bro. Are you a pyromaniac or something?
No. No, what the
Bro, what is going on right now?
people in the chat were demanding something earlier.
Uh-oh.
So we have to do it.
What?
What is not in my head right now?
The hat's not on your head, bro.
Okay.
Are you burning your
Then what-
T-Mobile
what do you
clothes?
think is going
No.
Are you burning your
What do you think
T-Mobile
is going on,
clothes?
bro?
Burning your T-Mobile clothes.
Bro,
You
this is
tell
not
me.
a LeBron James jersey when he left Cleveland for Miami.
Bro, it's demanded by the people, and we love making the SMT
What do you
Nation
mean?
happy.
I didn't see that
Sorry.
in the live chat. What are you talking about?
Look at what they're saying. Look at what they're saying, bro. Roast. Look, bro.
I don't see any of that, bro. You're making that
I'm-
up.
No, I am not. It's actually on there, bro. I'm being dead serious. Check the chat.
Bro,
Oh, man.
I don't see any of that. All I see is Maverick talking about US Cellular, mom and pop stores, bro.
No, bro. You need to go down to the current right now. Look at what everybody's saying.
No,
Bro.
You're gonna burn the
No.
T-Mobile Tuesdays hat, aren't you?
Bro.
Yeah, do it
Here
on
we go.
Periscope, bro.
All right. Oh, man.
Call off the goons, bro.
Bro, everybody's demanding it, bro.
Come on, man. It's unnecessary. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get off of here. Yeah, let's go. Let's get out of here. And let's. Can we do this on Periscope? Can you invite us on there?
Yeah.
All right. So let's wrap up the podcast. All right. Before Carlos gets gasoline, kerosene, and whatever else, and he's going to start a bonfire over there. I don't even know.
You can always donate it. Donate your stuff.
Safety, bro. We got safety. Don't worry.
Okay. All my moderators. Oh, my God, Carlos. John, Cesar, Pete. Who else is moderating today? I saw Jamaal. Jamaal, thank you for the super chats. I don't know if there's a list of all the super chats we got, but I know Jamaal was killing it. MT Houston, Texas. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. The other John as well, the one that has the A in the John. I'm not sure if there are other ones. I know Rafi was here earlier. If he's still around somewhere, he might be adding up the the super chats.
Yeah.
I want to thank my guests. Tim, thank you for coming on again. Hopefully we didn't scare you away with any of the shenanigans. Pete, thanks for being here, buddy. Dude, Pete's muted. I don't think he realizes it.
Yeah, you're muted, bro.
What happened? Jamaal with another super chat.
I think he's doing the sign language. I think.
I got nothing, bro. I don't know anything else. That's it.
I'll be back, John.
All right. Carlos, thank you for being here as always.
Yeah,
Caleb, thanks for coming on and, basically informing us the most important part of networks is the technology. So, thank you for breaking it down for us and making us understand it and making yourself available. We know you don't have to do it, but we appreciate you very much. And we're going to be heading over to Carlos's Periscope on Twitter. Yes?
Yeah, let's do it. Because we can't do it on YouTube. So
yeah, let's not do it on YouTube, please.
I don't know, man. If me and Tim could be a part of this or not. Depends on what you're burning, bro. I mean, come on.
All right. Well, we're going to be on the Periscope.
Hey, guys, we got
conspicuous.
We got choices.
Oh, no.
And the choices are very superb choices.
All right, y'all. Let's decommission this thing like a Sprint tower, shall we? Let's decommission this. All right. Thank you guys for watching. In the description box, if you could, please check out some of the links, the Patreon page. We have the second channel, T-Mobile Tech live streams, the Twitter handle at SMT Tech. Also, get on Carlos's Twitter handle as well. Megadon.net, never need another social media platform ever again. The social media of the future, no algorithms, no ads, no tracking. Megadon.net. Big shout out to Myron, Sean, Isaac, Matt, Paul, and Carlos, newest members of the Patreon page. Glad to have you guys. Let's get to going. Carlos is going to do something and whatever on Periscope, so we'll go over there. Pete, any final words since you just popped in?
I don't know why it muted. I blamed.
It's all good.
Yeah, you were muted, bro. It was crazy.
I
thought you were just trying to talk
muted.
to us language. I thought you were trying to do the sign language on us.
You want me to?
Nah, we out. Let's do sign language on Periscope.
Hey, I want to point out one thing. Carlos is missing a John.
He's missing a who?
Or Rafi's missing a John there.
He's missing John. Yeah, John's donation, which was, I think, $5, something. All right, and Jamaal, I think, just added one, so another one. So, all right, thank you guys for watching. Jamaal, thank you for everything. Habu, appreciate you. Big shout out to my mods. Big shout out to the guests. Thank you guys for watching. Big shout out to the replay crew. Hashtag replay gang. If you watch this on replay, hit the comment section. Let me know you watched it all the way through. Thank you guys for being here. Okay.
Don't go stir crazy.
Nah, not us, bro. We're just going to go to Periscope and have fun. So we'll see you guys on the next video and the next podcast.
All right. Peace.